could feel it. The build-up, the anticipation, using it's my birthday as an excuse the whole time. This time, and my phone died. So that was a little tricky. Welcome back. We are traveling from Mont Sant Michel to Paris, which is where we're meeting Dad, my husband. If you've been following along, I'm a mom with 4 kids, and we've been traveling throughout Europe for the 10 weeks of summer. And this is the part where we talk about getting to Paris from Mont Sant Michel. We had a memorable time in Mont Sant Michel. I would go back, I just think I would do it a different way. We drove in our camper van from Mont Sant Michel to Paris. Well, Versailles. Versailles is where we were staying. We were staying at the Utopia of Versailles, and it was a really great location. It wasn't as easy as Nantes, where you just walk out of the campgrounds and there's a trolley, but it's not that far to get to the metro. The train, actually it's a train. So it's not that far to get to the train station. So first up, we're on our way to Paris. It's quite a drive, and we know we're gonna take a lunch break on the way. You know what else was on the way? A piece of the Tour de France. Isn't that cool? So of course, I had to find it. I had to get there. We had to experience it. Okay? So we go and drive along and stop in a little place called Villers-Bocage. It was a small town, very cute, and we park our big old camping van off to the side in a parking space and walk down the main street, which is mostly closed because everyone in town was gathering to see the small part of the Tour de France that crosses through their village. But remember, this is our lunch stop. So we luckily found a burger shop that was open, and it was so fun to talk to this pair. He said he was like a big fan of America, a big fan of Americans, and he'd been there a couple times. He was practicing his English. I was practicing my French. It was so awesome. I love interactions like this, where you see the differences, but you're still coming together over the same things. After they finished making our food, we didn't eat there because we didn't know when the race would actually start or pass by for sure. And we had already seen quite a fanfare when we were parking our van. We were slightly nervous that we missed it, but according to what my intel said, we still had about an hour to go. We walked down the rest of the way. It was like a couple more blocks. I found the funniest shirt in there. We went and found a huddle of trees because it was really hot, and tried to just survive. We ate our lunch, we cleaned up, we walked around, we shopped at the we shopped the merchandise, and yet we still had extra time to wait because, yeah, it was about an hour. What we learned later is that the fanfare was actually the marketing team driving through and throwing out free merchandise and bucket hats, and that was all the cheering. And it seemed like it was the tour because they like passed through the same route. But an hour later, we used an app to kind of keep track of where they were, plus everybody in the group kind of knew where they were. We met this awesome group of cyclist men who had their own team. I loved their logo, so I took a picture of it. I'm pretty sure they were from Scotland, and they were so helpful, so fun too. My oldest, he was able to scoot to the front and get a good spot near the barricades, and my youngest, she stood up on this like barrier pole. It's hard to explain. And I did too, to get a good shot. What I can't explain is cycling isn't my thing. Cycling is maybe the kids' thing, but mostly because it's their dad's thing. And their dad wasn't with us. But yet, the kids were having such a good time. They were so hyped about it. We did watch the tour last year, so I think that was part of it. And my son and my husband have been bonding over this, and so they know all the names, they know all the people. It's really cute, but I do not. But the vibe, it was one of the most moving, emotional experiences I've ever had. It was like community and excitement, and I don't know, it just felt incredible. It was just such a vibe. That's all I can say. I don't know other words for it. I feel like you really do have to be there. And I recommend finding one of these small towns to go experience it in, because I feel like the level of community is just unmatched. It was amazing. I teared up. It was also a speed round, so they sped past us pretty quick. So we didn't really get to see much. It was more like a blur. But we could feel it, and it was just the build-up, the anticipation, the cheering, everyone, it just so good vibes. Really great. Later, we actually go to Toulouse because we were going to do the Tour de France with Dad. So it made us even more excited for the rest of it. When the tour passed us by, we went and got gelato, of course. But no ice cream shops were really open because the youngest really was set on having it in a cone, and everybody else had it in a cup or in a dish. What we did find, however, was a grocery store, because it's a town. And we went in there and got popsicles, or they're almost like fudgesicles. And then we found some kind of weird ice cream thing, and the owner of the grocery shop was so nice. They gave us like spoons. So it's just, I don't know. Something about smaller towns is just, people just care so much. There's so much community. Like, I'm a tourist, but yet they were happy to help, be nice. They were just, I don't know. I liked it. And then once we got all cleaned up, we walked back to our van and headed to Paris, but landed in Versailles because that was our camping spot. Camping Utopia Versailles, okay? This is the camping spot we chose. You don't have to have a camper van here. You don't have to sleep in a tent here. They have cabins. Some of them are massive, and some of them are in clusters, like they're all facing towards each other. There's so many different options. There's like mobile home looking options. There's lots of options. It had a pool. It had a restaurant. They had a crepe guy come on the weekends. They had a flea market come on the weekends. They had laundry. They had a playground. They had a sand pit. They had a volleyball court. They had games for the kids to play. They had sports tools that you could use. They had multiple sanitary stations, which is where you can take a shower, go to the bathroom, and do your dishes. They even had a magician come and entertain the kids.
Il va falloir faire les mêmes gestes que moi. Bien. Au début, ça va être facile, évidemment, ça va se compliquer. Alors, vous faites un petit coucou aux spectateurs. Bien. Vous mettez votre main bien à plat. Et vous restez comme ceci pour qu'on puisse voir la différence. Bien. Alors, vous allez prendre le tube, vous faites comme moi, vous présentez l'intérieur. Vous le posez dessus. Bien. Alors, maintenant, à aucun moment, il ne faut lâcher la main du bord. C'est déjà arrivé, c'est pour ça. Alors, vous faites comme moi. Hein. Alors, je vais aller lentement pour commencer. Soulevez le tube pour voir dans quel sens aller. Debout. Alors, on y va une fois, 2 fois, 3 fois. Si vous soulevez, dans quel sens est la bouteille? À l'envers. Très bien. On la remet de droit. Attention, ça va aller plus vite. Dans quel sens est-elle? Debout. Allez, ça va aller plus vite. Hein. Prêt? C'est parti. 1, 2 et 3. Si vous soulevez, dans quel sens est votre bouteille? Ah, j'ai dû aller trop vite. On va la remettre bien droite. Hein. Attention.
He was amazing. It was so fun. They had everything you could think of. They had a bakery, they had coffee, they had all the things. It really is a great place to stay, especially just outside of the city. To get to the city, you leave the campsite and you walk down, I would say about 4 blocks, and then get on the train at the train station. You ride a train, I think the RERC is what we took, if I remember right. And there is not really a ticket office. I mean, there is a ticket office, but it was closed most of the time. And they had a kiosk, but it was broken. Okay, so the first day that we went to the train, we went later in the day, like midday. And there was somebody there, and we bought hard passes, like the cards. I highly recommend that. I know you could lose a card versus on your phone, but like when you have this many people, I really recommend just getting a card. We got the passes for day, like a day pass. I felt like that was better for us because we knew we'd be on multiple metros and we'd be on the train. It just made sense. When we went into Paris the first time, we were going in because we were going to the Louvre. We've already been to the Louvre. We've already seen the Mona Lisa, but for whatever reason, my son really was set on going. I even had to remind him of the experience of seeing the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. Still wanted to go. So we did. And here's kind of an insider tip. If you have a stroller, they do let you go to the front so that they take you to the elevator to get you down. Just so you know. Also, there's a secondary entrance. You don't have to wait in that long line. There's a second way to get in. So keep that in mind. I do feel like the Mona Lisa is a little overrated, but it is one of those things to experience. Why did we do it a second time? I don't know. I do tell you, once you're in the Louvre, it is annoying to have a stroller. The elevators are kind of staggered, so you have to know which elevator to take in order to get all the way up to that floor, because in the section where the Mona Lisa is, there's like different tiers, different staircases, and like you can take an elevator, but then you get stuck at the grand staircase. So unless you're going to carry that stroller up, you got to find the right elevator. You can just ask somebody, but also there's maps that tell you which elevators get to which. You just have to be aware, and it's not obvious. Does that make sense? Like if you just walked in and just followed the direction of where you're supposed to go and took the elevator that was there, that's not going to get you there. If you want to get there, you have to kind of like pre-plan the route. That goes for anybody in a wheelchair too. We landed there on the 10th and did the Louvre. And then the next day, Dad was coming. And the next day was also one of my kids' birthdays. Very big day. Her plan was to go shopping, of course. Mind you, we've been shopping this whole time, and she's been using "it's my birthday" as an excuse the whole time. But this time it was going to be fancy because we were going to the Galeries Lafayette, and of course that's a whole event. Pricey, but so fun. We then walked to the train. We took the train into town, and me and the birthday girl went shopping while Dad and the other three got to spend some time together because they really missed him. They did the push boats at the Luxembourg Gardens. They went by the Notre Dame. They didn't go inside. Went shopping at the Lafayette, the Galerie Lafayette. We got toys, of course. She didn't want to look at clothes. That was boring. And we got a giant slice of cake. Like it was so big that the people in the cafe around us and the server looked at me like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "No, I'm not sure, but yeah, okay." What I really said was, "It's fine," in French, because that's all I could say. After our shopping spree and our sweet treats, we went to meet up with the rest of the group because we had planned to do a croissant making class all together. We thought that would be a great thing to bring home and to practice doing at home, and the kids could do it too. We think cooking like this is a life skill that you have to practice, and why not learn from the best? And the Parisians, they're pretty good at a croissant, if not the best. Where this class took place happened to be next to a very historical cafe. It used to be a library, and the top floor is more or less still a library / bookshop, and a cafe on the bottom floor. I would not say they're super keen on tourists, but they'll serve you. Next door to that is the chocolate shop, where it's legend for Marie Antoinette used that for her medicine, the chocolate for her medicine. And then over time, they've accumulated specific types of chocolate flavors for very specific people, and they can tell you all about it when you go in there. It's very good. It is a pricier chocolate experience, but it has that history. It is exclusive. It is all the things. So the meeting spot is at that chocolate shop, library shop, everything else. And then that you go inside this gate, and they let you in to where they also do just other cooking classes. Like a macaroon class was next door. We ended up at the end swapping our goods. We traded a croissant and some cinnamon rolls for a couple macaroons because the birthday girl was obsessed with macaroons. So it was a win-win. I loved it. It was really fun because the dad in the macaroon class was so excited to get a croissant. It was so funny. That was the birthday girl's day. We did try to stop in a couple other shops along the way back to the train station. So many toy shops that we found were extremely pricey and limited on what they had. So we didn't buy anything from there. But that's okay because we had been shopping this whole time. But I wasn't quite done. The next day was, yes, shopping. We'll get to that. But the next day, we woke up very early and we tried to hop on the train, but our cards were not working. The readers were not working. And it wasn't just us. It was another family too that was stuck. And the ticket office wasn't open yet. And we were trying to beat the crowd to get to the Eiffel Tower. So here's the thing. When the Eiffel Tower runs out of tickets or tours, you can still show up before it opens to buy a ticket and then get in if they have availability. Like if you're one of the first ones in line, it's first come, first serve. Because they reserve some that are not online for those who just show up. So we needed to get there and on time. We needed to be there. We were in a rush, per se, which was very American of us. But because nothing was working, there was no one there to help us, we just hopped over it. We made sure to hold up our card and show to the cameras that it just wasn't working. And we hopped over. And so did the other family. And then we got on the train. Later, when we came back, we did talk to the ticket office about it just to make sure it's okay. Remember, this wouldn't have worked if we only had 1 day pass or 1 ticket train. We had a pass for a few days, so it should have worked, and so did the other family. So we don't know what happened. It was working fine later. We got to the Eiffel Tower very, very early, and we bought our ticket to ride the elevator all the way up, which is funny because when people ask me what they recommend to do in Paris, we don't necessarily recommend the Eiffel Tower because it's usually crowded, it's usually windy, pretty cold. It was the summer, so it wasn't cold for us. In March, it was cold. The view isn't super great. And the best part is seeing the Eiffel Tower and seeing it light up and seeing the view of the city with the Eiffel Tower. But this was on somebody else's bucket list too, so we did it. We rode all the way to the top. For the birthday girl, one of her presents was this camera that immediately printed the picture, and most of that Eiffel Tower experience was trying to get that camera to actually work. We did get some, but overall she ended up in tears. Poor thing. Also on the bucket list for myself was to get a Louise Carmen notebook. If you know me, You know I'm obsessed with stationery and planners and goal setting and all those things. I love them. I love them. And then when I saw that they made this leather book where you like change out the books, you can like personalize it. It's supposed to last forever. You could even pass it down if you want. It's like, how is there any more perfect thing in the world? I don't know. So I wanted one so bad. So I went and waited in line. It doesn't open until noon. And then all the appointments that they had made separately obviously are going to go in ahead of you. And it takes time. People are deciding on things that they're going to keep. And it's not super cheap. It's not outrageous, but it's something that you want to be sure about. So it takes time. While I was waiting in line, it's super boring for kids. The kids again went around the town and shopping, and I think they were hunting for a Pokemon store. Every once in a while, Pokemon rears its head in our lives, and it's just an obsession that we follow around. This was one of those times, which worked out for me. And it was really nice because I had been the single parent for a big chunk of time by now. My husband taking the kids was 2-in-1. He got to spend time with them and enjoy the city with them, and I got some alone time. The no one needs me time. It's very needed after being a single parent for a while. It just is. You just need to fill your cup, and this is how I filled my cup. I went and got my Louise Carmen, and I picked out all the things. I was so back and forth. Here's one thing about me, is it usually takes me a long time to decide. But once I decide, I am very sure about the decision. I'll show you what I picked. It was this more orangey type leather, but over time, whatever color you pick, it changes to a different color depending on what it's exposed to, how weathered it gets, and they show you the differences when you're picking, which I love. And you have to pick which band to put on it, what size, what books you want in it. Do you want this white pen? Do you want... There's so many choices. So you got to go through it. There's charms, there's engravings, all the things. So while it's kind of orangey now, it's a beautiful light brown later. And I chose Ma Vie to represent my life. It was a way of stepping into my own in my journey of healing and growing. And it has a tiny French flag, and I chose a few different inserts, and I was ready to go, I thought. But no, it actually takes an hour and a half to be ready for you to pick up. And you pick a travel case, and I picked the traditional, the original. It was just more me. They have all kinds of patterns, and the patterns do change, but for me, the plain one was perfect. While I was waiting for my book to be ready, I chose to walk to Cézanne because I've always loved Cézanne, but I never can make a choice online. I don't know, I never can pull the trigger. And I was like, this is my chance to go try stuff on, see it in person. I was hoping to walk to the archive one, but it was just a bit too far for me to get there, actually shop and get back. So I just went to the Cézanne closest. And because it was, I don't think they participated in the solds, to be honest. I don't remember anything really being on sale. I ended up actually buying a cute little purse. I think it's called the Milo purse, probably Milo, but like I just thought that was perfect. It's pink, which I thought was very fun because I don't usually pick a color. I usually pick a neutral for almost everything when it comes to the staple pieces that I have. But it was time. It was time for a purse. I had graduated from diaper bags, and it was just big enough to keep what I needed in there. I loved it. I still love it. I wear it all the time. After I got my purse, I walked back. Oh, and I got some socks and a charm that was limited at the time. That was a tea for me. Then I walked back and picked up my book. They put it in this black bag with black tissue paper. Like everything about the store, so neat. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I got one. But people they'll come back. The woman that was picking hers out next to me was a Canadian mom and her daughter. And we were talking back and forth because she would talk to me in English, but not in any like, you're a lazy American or you're a dumb American way. It was quickly from fluent, beautiful French to English. And I'm still new to French, so I do not hear the difference between Canadian French and like Parisian French. So I can't hear the difference. It just sounds like she knows what she's doing and I do not. And she hears me like stumbling through it and she's helping and it's so nice. Oh my gosh, people are so nice. And it was cute to see the mother and daughter there because she was there with her daughter to get her one. Oh, I love it so much. Maybe I'll do that one day. Because my oldest daughter, she is like me. She loves the stationery. So maybe one day. That'd be a fun trip. All my shopping didn't quite line up with how the kids' shopping was going. They ended up heading back before me, about like 45 minutes before me. And that was kind of nice. That was nice because I got to sit on the train alone. I got to just worry about just getting myself on and off. And I even stopped by the grocery store that was on the corner on my way back to the camping spot, which in hindsight, I was like, this is heavy. Because it was still about a 3-block walk. And my phone died. So that was a little tricky. I think it more just made my husband nervous, but it was fine at the end. So that was our first stay in Paris on this trip. We do come back, and I love Paris. And the Versailles camping, I'm impressed. It was so nice. Camping in Europe is different. All right, so now that we've picked up Dad and we've done our Parisian things and learned how to make a croissant, we've yet to actually do it. Since being back, we need to do it. We just need to do it and practice it and actually get it right. But our next stop is actually going down to Toulouse to actually be a part of the Tour de France. This part of the Tour de France has a rest day in it, so it's a longer event, a bigger event. Come back if you want to hear about our experience and maybe see what it's kind of like. The Tour de France route does change every year, so it's not always in Toulouse, but you can kind of gauge an idea of what it's like. So thank you for following along. Thank you for being here. See you next time. Happy travels.